6ix9ine just ruined Steph Curry in one move. How is that even possible? What could 6ix9ine possibly say or do to Steph Curry? And I'm looking at you, Ayesha. Don't piss me off. All right, you've been skating on thin ice all year. You get one a year, and you already used your little pass. Don't piss me off, Ayesha Curry. I'm looking at you. What possibly could 6ix9ine do?
The relationship between Ayesha Curry and Steph Curry is definitely polarizing, but it wasn't always like that. At first, Ayesha Curry was the kind of pick-me wife, staying at home, never wearing revealing clothes, and doing whatever she could to show Steph some respect.
Yeah, but why would that be considered a pick-me? I guess maybe women would call it that, but wasn't she already picked? She was married. She was already picked by a guy who's 6'4" and is the best shooter of all time. So she was already picked. There would be no point for her to be a pick-me. She's just showing respect to her husband, and some women who don't have one might call you a pick-me for that. But the funniest part is I would consider the woman that's damn near butt naked online for attention to be more of a pick-me. You damn near begging for attention. So I just think that that's funny. They call a good wife a pick-me, but a woman who's butt naked online, desperate for any male attention, isn't a pick-me?
But ultimately, that did change. And it changed dramatically. We started to see Ayesha Curry go from being a big-time supporter of Steph to resenting him in real time. And statements like this were red flags.
The thing that really bothers me and, like, honestly has...
The red flag was this right here. I had to go back a little bit, but this right here is the red flag. The fact that Jada Pinkett is anywhere around you and you a married woman, automatic red flag. The fact that Jada Pinkett is making this face towards something that you're saying is a red flag. A woman who slept with her son's best friend is making this face when you talking, you know you about to say something egregious.
Really bothers me and, like, honestly has given me a sense of a little bit of an insecurity is the fact that, yeah, like, there are all these women, like, throwing themselves. But me, like, the past 10 years, like, I don't have any of that. Like, I have zero, this sounds weird, but, like, male attention.
Yeah, it's because you ain't ever scored 50 points in a game. You're not the best shooter in history. So that just comes with the territory. But the weirdest part about this, and I'll be looking at situations like this, but the weirdest part about situations that are similar to this is you get all the respect and attention from the people who actually matter. Don't nobody actually care about Steph Curry outside of what they think he is, and that is just a sports icon. You actually get to know Steph Curry. You live with him. You have kids with him. So everybody who actually matters in terms of their appreciation is in your house, and they're going to appreciate you equally. The only people who are going to ever appreciate you just as much as they appreciate Steph Curry are going to be the kids, and that's going to matter the most because that's your family. That's really all that matters. So all that other type of attention, I don't see why it's something you want so bad that you need to voice that. It just doesn't make sense.
Complaining that she doesn't get attention from other men, but she wants it. And then Kevin Samuels had to get on her.
She married a guy that she thinks she's better than. And honestly, she's jealous of him. She's jealous because I'm sitting at home, pumped out 3 kids, and he's on TV every day.
Now, Kevin Samuels had a crystal ball. He was like the That's So Raven of the red pill.
He's getting all the fame. He's getting all the red carpet treatment. He's getting all this. And only time she gets attention is attention that he deflects to her. We wouldn't know about Ayesha Curry if it wasn't for Steph.
Right.
He tries to put her in the spotlight. He tries to put her in front and center. And guess what? If she had what it takes, she'd already be there.
Yeah.
And that's what's not being told.
Woo! Now, Kevin always had the gift of bringing things out to the open that some of us wouldn't have thought about. And he says it very clearly. If she was really that chick, she would already be on, but she's not.
Yeah.
And you're upset that you're not on. And then even now, as you've seen in the past with some of her interviews, she's talking about how she regrets being, a wife, a mother.
Yeah, that's insane. And to really add to Kevin Samuels' point, she's had all the opportunity in the world because of her husband to do essentially whatever she's wanted to do. She's had the cookbooks. She's had the cooking shows that she said she wanted. But Kevin Samuels was right. She just didn't have what it takes to stay in the limelight. And that's fine because she's a mom. But then you can't not have what it takes and then blame your shortcomings on your family because that makes you resentful towards your family when really you should just be trying to work on your skill to be in the forefront if you actually had a talent. talent outside of being married to Steph Curry. So instead of her taking on the accountability and saying, maybe I'm not where I want to be with my career or whatever I'm trying to pursue because I'm just not cut for it or I haven't pursued it hard enough, she's trying to go, well, I didn't make it far because of my family, because I took on the responsibility of motherhood. And it's like, nah. I think the reason why, and thinking that way will only make you resentful to a great situation that you're currently in. And anybody that's gassing her up while she's on this tangent is just trying to sabotage her, and it's obvious. It's like your husband is worth over $100 million, and he's the best shooter in NBA history. You better be grateful.
Things that she wanted to do.
Yeah,
and
blah, blah,
well,
blah, blah,
It's healthy. It's healthy to, in front of a bunch of strangers in a public setting, to talk about how your husband just kind of doesn't get it and how it's much harder for you to not have been able to pursue your dreams that were literally only that, dreams.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing in your reality that looked like you were about to be in the trajectory of becoming a C-suite executive.
Right.
Yeah, again, this is the problem with Ayesha Curry. She's acting as if she was going to be like this big time celebrity if she had not met Steph Curry.
Yes, because some ladies are just ungrateful. They can have a perfect life and still think to themselves, what if? And the craziest part about the what if mentality is they always assume that their circumstances would be better if the thing happened. They never assume almost every other scenario, which is that things are going to be way worse than your current situation. They always think it would be better if they got the thing or did the thing that they wanted to do.
That's the issue. But hindsight is 2020, so it's easy to say that you would have done X, Y, and Z simply because you are rich. But really, if I wouldn't have went to Grant High School, I would have became the #1 point guard in the city of Sacramento.
Stop the cap.
But again, these things with Ayesha Curry kept coming about, and almost, it seems like almost every few months she goes on to some podcast and she's really, really disrespecting Steph Curry. And to Steph Curry's point, he's nothing like Ayesha Curry. He's very respectful. He never talks about her in a, devastating way or in a pejorative way.
Yeah, it's because he's successful, so he has other things to talk about. The problem with the wives that go on these podcasts is the only thing that's interesting about them is that they're married to the guy who's actually interesting. Maybe when she goes onto these podcasts, she should talk about the things that she's doing, and that would add to her credibility or give her some more opportunities.
Despite the fact that she does this, and this is what has caused so many women to question her.
Yeah,
but at this point, you're embarrassing him because it's like every interview you want to let it be known you're not happy. Then let somebody else marry him. Let somebody else live the lavish lifestyle. Let somebody else make him happy.
Right.
What you thought was gonna happen marrying a basketball player? You thought he was gonna be home every single day? No, bro.
Right.
That's what comes with the game. I would be meal prepping for that man, doing everything he got to do. You on interviews talking about how, in other words, you're miserable. You act like you want to go cheat.
Now, this lady is interesting because she's saying something that a lot of ladies think.
Where does 6ix9ine come into play with this? I'm waiting for that part.
Why don't you just leave the guy, let somebody else marry him, and take care of him? I mean, that's just what you should do, because every time you're talking about this guy, you are insinuating the worst.
Yeah.
And it also seems like you're a lady who wants to cheat. Now, again, guys, people have been speculating this for a long time on the internet. Like Ayesha Curry is, showing her body off. She's losing all this weight. She's hanging out by herself in Toronto. Like, clearly this lady feels that she's lost out. So she wants to experience certain
old times.
things.
Yeah.
And I believe that because she has a husband like Steph Curry, let's say, for example, that she was to cheat, she's probably betting on the fact that, okay, well, he's not going to leave me if I do cheat. It doesn't matter.
Why would she assume that? Let's be honest. Ayesha Curry is not like a crazy good looker when it comes to what Steph could probably get if he was just out in the field. And I'm not saying that to discredit her. Obviously, that's his wife. I'm not trying to take anything away from her. She's a good wife. Then that's going to matter more than just her outright looks. But what I'm saying is, don't think that you're irreplaceable. And you get to the point where you start getting ungrateful and cheating. You can never think that you're that irreplaceable. Nobody's bigger than the program.
Woo! But again, the signs are there. If a woman is talking about this sort of stuff kind of out in the open, and especially if you are a high value man, you are a man that makes a lot of money. And again, Kevin Samuels was saying the same thing deeper into that video. She doesn't respect the position that Steph Curry has. While we are so enamored by the fact that he's the greatest shooter of this generation, he's an excellent basketball player, she doesn't look at him in the same vein, and that's the issue.
Well, it's because she knows him personally. She got to smell his dirty drawers when she go to do the laundry or whatever it may be. So, yeah, if you know somebody personally, it's a little bit different. But there's definitely a lack of respect, and that will end up being an issue, or it can end up being an issue.
But he looks at her as if she's the best thing since white rice. And so now these rumors have continued to, kind of fester about, both of them, her willingness to stay in the marriage, speculating when the marriage is going to end because most people think it will end soon, and all of that. But nobody ever had any confirmation of infidelity happening until...
Who is the biggest name girl you've ever fucked?
If I lie, do I get sued for defamation?
Who's the most famous girl you ever fucked?
Yes, Ayesha Curry.
Wow.
It's just hearsay. But I will say this. Odd choice of a person to pick out of a random hat. Very odd pick. The thing that I'm having a tough time understanding is why 6ix9ine would have this crossover in any way with a lady like Ayesha Curry. But it is a random person to say, and I don't know if y'all been watching 6ix9ine lately, but he's been on a rampage as far as his honesty. He just recently did a lie detector test.
Do you have over 1,000 bodies?
No, I don't have 100,000 bodies. I think. Ask me if I have over 10,000 bodies.
He said 1,000.
I said 1,000.
1,000. You have more than 1,000 bodies.
Yes.
Wow.
Bro.
Ask me 10,000.
10,000.
Yes.
Yo!
No sign of deception on that one.
I don't know, man. I don't know. You can't really make those types of assumptions. I'll just wait for more evidence to come out. I'm not just going to take a guy's word for it. But I will say that it's an interesting pick. Out of every name in that hat he could have pulled out, he ended up pulling out Ayesha Curry. I'm not going to lie. If that was my wife, I'd start to ask questions. I'd be like, okay, so what is this about? Why would this even be said? And if it's not true, maybe we do need to start trying to sue for some type of defamation.
So Tekashi 6ix9ine goes to Neo's stream, and Neo asks him, who is the biggest star that you've ever clapped cheeks with? And he says, well, am I going to get sued? And, he then goes out to say it's Ayesha Curry. Now, I don't know if this is true, and it may not be true, but here is what I know, and this is for sure, that Tekashi 6ix9ine, on almost every female that he has dealt with, has some level of receipts that he can prove to say that he did this. And he typically shows somebody like DJ Academics.
Yeah.
He typically shows, people in the industry, or he could be trolling. But let's say that he's not trolling and this rumor gets out there, people believe it. Well, then why would they believe this sort of rumor? They would believe this sort of rumor because simply of how she behaves. It's believable. And so this is what I kind of want to tell to women out there, that you are in a relationship with a guy and you can be faithful to the guy. But if you're the person that has an attitude like Ayesha Curry has, and it's bad and it's terrible, and you're humiliating your man in the public, it is so easy for somebody to go out and say, you know what? You as a lady are exhibiting all these qualities. So yes, it's true. You are doing this to Steph. Now you can come out and get in front of it and say it's not true, but people would like to believe this because typically Tekashi 6ix9ine, from what I know, doesn't really lie on himself.
Yeah,
but
that's
you
true.
Put it out there
He
by
don't
how
really
you
lie like
acted. And so now everybody can go and say, oh, she's cheating on her husband. And he can get mad about it and yo, my wife isn't cheating on me. Stop the show, although he wouldn't know. Woo! But if you didn't want people to even believe that, then why do you act the way you do? All that you had to do was act like a lady and be respectful to your husband, and to not drag or dog him. And then if somebody were to say this, you slept with a Steph Curry's wife, hey, we would easily be able to shoot that down. Like, what? Like, no.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. 10 years ago, this would have been a lot harder to believe.
There's no
I
way
must
that
say
she did that. He's lying.
In my opinion, that's
and
true.
let me tell you this. He wouldn't even try it either. Because people just wouldn't believe him. And he know it wouldn't be true. And let's say, for example, it was true. He'd had to show undeniable evidence.
Yeah.
Now, in this case,
because at this point, this is just gossip. So this whole video is just made off of like that one guy, Tekashi, just saying, yeah, this happened.
False. But the reality is that she's been acting like this the whole entire time. And so people are going to have a right to go and run with this particular story, although I can't verify the validity of it.
Oh, okay,
now,
okay.
if it is true, this is where it's going to be crazy. You see, people tend to like opposites of what they already have. Let's look at Ayesha Curry, for example. If this were true, fundamentally, it would prove something. That she wants the provider guy, who is Steph Curry. He's safe. He's an NBA All-Star. He's a man that's a Christian, all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A man that checks all the boxes, pays the bills, but a man that you may not find exciting, a man that you feel is holding you back. He's giving you a good soft life, but obviously there's something that you could do in the streets. So you're missing that part of the streets. Okay? Now, if that woman goes out and gets a dude that's completely different from the man that you are, if she's having a sexual relationship with him, then it makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense why she would mess with a guy like Tekashi 69, because Tekashi 69 is all about vibes. He's completely different
No
than
structure.
Steph.
Yep.
He probably is
structure.
exciting to her, and yes, that's what she needed to, get her what wet and all of that stuff.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how much some ladies love chaos. Some ladies just love chaos, and if they've never even experienced chaos, they are attracted to the idea of chaos.
Got him! And ultimately, the rumor is out there, and again, it could be fake. But when you're Ayesha Curry and you've been making all of these problems for yourself and for your husband, then yeah, I mean, people are likely going to believe it, and the reason why they're going to believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know Tekashi 69 has been on a streak where he hasn't been lying and he's being completely honest, and that's really what's growing him and his brand right now. But I would just need more evidence for this, and if it's not true, if I was Steph or Ayesha, I would definitely be looking at some type of defamation lawsuit. But the only issue here is Ayesha Curry is wearing less clothes. She's going out to clubs with Drake and doing all these other things. So she might not have signed the deal with the devil, but she's definitely dancing with him. And the devil is very, very persuasive. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L, and give me the HBO special. That's Help Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.